Hello, Shadow Era fans, and welcome to the latest episode of Shadow Era Radio, the official podcast of Wolven Studios. It's been a while since we've all gotten together on our Skype studio online to be able to talk to you guys, but we're excited to get right back into it and talk about all the exciting things that have been going on with Shadow Era and Wolven since the last episode. We've just had so much going on, we haven't been able to actually get together and talk about it, but here we are today. Let's just jump right into it because we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. There's a lot to catch up on, a lot of great things that are coming, and you guys have flooded us with amazing listener questions. And we want to be able to talk about as many of your questions and discussion topics as we possibly can. All right, so here with us today from the Shadow Era team, we have Gondorian.
Hello.
We have Lewis/Soothslayer.
Hello, folks.
We have Mojumbo/Trevor.
Yo, yo, yo.
We have Kevin/Nacho Cheese.
Word to your mothers.
So for our regular listeners, it's been a little while since we've actually gotten together for this podcast. What's everyone been up to since the last episode?
When was the last one? I think it was before. I think it was before my
before
third child
DP.
arrived. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was before Dark Prophecies.
having-
What happened was Dark Prophecies launched and we all got busy.
So yeah, I've been busy changing nappies, and I think one of the guys had a kid as well.
Yep, my little baby came along and has made life so much more interesting.
Yep, they do that.
Have you officially started calling it Nacho Child in real life as well as on the internet?
We never stopped. That was his name before he was even born.
I was in the impression it was just called Nacho Baby.
Yeah, that's his name.
Oh, that's good. Like, is that on the birth certificate?
Yeah.
Because that would be very.
People ask,
confusing.
what's his name? I said, Nacho Baby. They back off.
I would back off.
Might also have to do with the fact that he just carries a box cutter. That might be why they're backing off.
How old is your kid now?
Oh, that's suspect.
Dialing up children's services in Seattle real quick here. Don't mind me, guys.
Does he have like some sort of a bandana or tribal tattoo of some sort?
Nah, it doesn't need those. He has the
Uh.
glare and a box cutter. That's all you really need to get by in life.
Nacho Baby don't play games.
I guess not. How do you transition out of that? You guys.
Has anybody else got anything to talk about?
So,
Anybody else? Good news?
Cutting over to someone else.
I've been playing Dark Prophecies myself, actually. It's quite a bit fun.
I will say that playing Meltdown with Dark Prophecy is actually ridiculously fun. Because you end up with really weird, goofy matchups, and the strategy is just completely different. So definitely a lot of fun.
Yes. I am a huge fan. I've been playing the crap out of Dark Prophecies Meltdown. Like, I've kind of been neglecting a lot of Constructed in my spare time because I like Meltdown. There's just a whole lot of depth that's been added with the Dark Prophecies. You can even choose how many packs you want from each set between Call of the Crystals and Dark Prophecies. So there's just a whole lot going on in Meltdown right now. It's really quite a lot of fun. And, also, speaking of Meltdown, there have been some really big Meltdown improvements that have happened recently. There's a bigger jackpot that goes on now when you're competing in Meltdown, and you can win foil cards by getting into the top placings in Meltdown each week. And that resets every week, so you have lots and lots of chances to get lots of gold and foil cards. So yeah, that's been going on. And people are always asking us, we had so many listener questions about this on Facebook and on our forums. So we're just going to go ahead and let you guys know there is another update with more features and stuff coming soon. You can play it right now on the test server at test.shadowera.com. And my personal favorite new feature that's coming in this update is we're going to be able to have multiple decks per hero. So if you want to have 3 Magia decks saved on your account at the same time, you can do that. You can unlock extra deck slots for your heroes.
So you can have one with 0 supernovas, one with 1 supernova, and one with 2 supernovas.
Or if you're Seth, just 3 decks with no supernovas.
That works.
No, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a deck that's all supernovas. I'm going to find a way to do it. Just 40 supernovas.
That would be cheating, sir.
I guess that would break some conventional deck construction.
I think
rules.
you'd be dead before you killed yourself, actually. Nothing till turn 5.
That's probably true. But yeah, so version 2.01 is on the test server. You guys can check it out now. It'll be coming to the live server soon. Once we get the bugs and kinks worked out, but you can check out all the new features and UI improvements and the multiple deck slots. This is important over there right now at test.shadowera.com.
Speaking of foils, there have been comments on the forum that the new foils don't look as good as the old foils. That's because the Dark Prophecies foils haven't been masked yet. And what does that mean? Well, essentially, if you look at the beautiful Call of the Crystals ones, you'll see the main kind of person on the image, then the lovely background, all shimmering and beautiful. That hasn't been done on the Dark Prophecies cards yet. That was a decision to... If you don't put the foils in there within the code, then when you buy packs, you can't get foils in your packs. So the decision was to release it with the foils in and improve them aesthetically later. That is almost ready to go live, and it will happen auto-magically. That's a special word that I use to tell my children how Father Christmas gets in at Christmas time. Does it auto-magically? So the foils will be looking lovelier, and flavor text is going to be added onto the cards as well within the next week.
Yes. Flavor text is coming, and speaking of that, we always have a lot of people asking us about the lore of the game. And
one of the things we've been working on for the past couple of weeks is we're actually in the middle of what I call the 12 weeks of lore. It's a period of 12 weeks where every Wednesday I've been releasing either a new short story or a new characters in profile. There are a few more types of things besides those, including the Dark Prophecies epilogue that's coming up. And after the 12 weeks are over, we've got a really special announcement that's going to pop up for you guys.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. I will say this, and this is totally ringing my own bell. Maybe the largest announcement the lore has ever had. Just gonna throw that out there.
Don't try to fight it, because remember the song. I fought the lore and the lore won. So lore will win.
I fought the
Lord.
Lord.
The puns. He's got the puns, folks. He's got the puns. Now, one other thing, though, that I really want to make sure that we touch on, that people have been requesting a lot, and I don't want to steal any thunder from Gondorian on this one. Do you want to talk about Project Jasmine?
Well, there's two Project Jasmines. There's my own personal one, which I'm going to keep secret. But there's also one that Kyle has called Project Jasmine.
Which one is wearing a bra on your head?
That I don't call that Project Jasmine. That's got a different name. And how did you know about that? You got access to my secret spy network.
He's got access to the spy network. Kevin, what's the password? I need to know.
Weird science.
That's probably the Kyle version.
I changed it. Project Jasmine is a complete overhaul of the way that the game client and the server talk to each other to address connectivity issues that people sometimes have, because it's a mobile game, because it's on mostly 3G or Edge or whatever, or even the fact that you're so far away from the server, sometimes things go missing. It's a project to make it far more resilient and also to make it more secure. That is going to improve the game a whole lot. And when the automated tournament queues come in, then we'll have high confidence that whoever's winning those tournaments is the rightful awesome person to give them their proper name. Because what we don't want is great players who disconnect and lose a game. So we're making sure that it's super robust and reliable. And that's Project Jasmine.
That is exciting stuff, because a lot of people have been asking for those kinds of upgrades for a while. So we do have that in the works for you, and it'll be launching soon. On other news that we've not had time to talk about since the last episode of the podcast, the website of shadowera.com has been completely redesigned, revamped, and overhauled. If you haven't been to shadowera.com in a while, you should definitely go check it out. We have a whole bunch of new content. There's a whole new layout to the site. We have special content from the design team and from the community that's been highlighted. There's just a whole bunch of stuff going on that website now, so you should definitely come check it out.
One of the other things we're using to really kind of build a more robust content on the website is that we have a lot of articles that are already being featured continuously on the website currently, but the design team members and myself, we are also going to be adding more articles ourselves onto this website.
Indeed. So you'll get to see a whole bunch of content straight from us as well.
because they think we don't work hard enough. They have this impression that we're slackers. So yeah, they want us writing articles as well now, and we love to do more stuff for the community. So yeah, Lewis is writing all those for us. I don't want to write any. Lewis is doing all that.
Welcome,
So thanks, Lewis, for volunteering.
Welcome, Gondorian. You all don't know, but Gondorian's a slave driver. You didn't know.
Lewis is going to write 5 articles per day. That's what I was told, at least.
Yes,
right?
I heard it was actually 6, but maybe I was just out of the loop on that one.
Either that or he doesn't unchain my thumbs from each other. So, gotta work hard.
So I'm looking forward to reading these articles. 5 per day. I don't know. I might just randomly choose 1 to read and ignore the other 4. But everyone else, 5 per day.
That would make my thumb sad.
Well, realistically, we could all pitch in, and if each of us reads one of Lewis's articles, none of them will go to waste.
I'm okay with that. Happy thumb time.
So Lewis is happy. Everybody's happy.
Yes. Well, along with the articles being contributed to the website by design team, which you guys should see coming out soon, we also have currently running a car design contest that'll be concluding at the end of the month, where we have featured a sample piece of artwork that we wanted you guys to use as inspiration for your craziest and best car designs, to encompass all types of effects and interactions you guys would like to see in the game. And we're really looking at that, through a microscope and trying to glean the best info we can from that. And we've already gotten some awesome submissions, and hopefully we can narrow it down to a great winner soon.
I see your plan now, Lewis. What you've done is, because you're going to be writing like 5 articles a day, you won't have time to design cards. You've launched a contest now for card ideas. Nice. Very clever.
I have to hand it to him. That's very clever. Yeah.
You caught on to my
like
plot.
140 replies. We've got a whole set worth of allies now, I think.
You cut on to my plot of laziness.
that's genius, man.
Although
I have to applaud you.
Although if I used all of them as they are, we would end up with quite the interesting set.
I think so.
We would have won
very
that.
interesting. I think it'd be very fun.
Well, I mean, you can just leave them as they are, and since Mojumbo is our balanced dictator, Trevor will just have his hands full.
I will dictate them.
That sounds very ominous.
Dun, dun, dun.
And if you guys want to keep up on the latest events and news, such as the card design contest, website overhauls, any of this kind of stuff, or new episodes of this very podcast, go to our Facebook page, which is Shadow Era Official over on Facebook. We post all of our new content, and we post news announcements, events. So if you want to keep up to date and up to the minute on all the latest happenings in Shadow Era and all the latest and greatest news, be sure to check out our Facebook page, because that's where you're going to find the fastest and best source of official information.
I'd like to give a shout out to all the people who are making great contributions to the community at the moment, running events and so on. I'm not going to name names though, because I might miss somebody, but those people know who they are, and they are incredibly appreciated for all their hard work, because quite a lot of people say that it's the community and the people contributing to it that really makes the game. They're wrong. It's the awesome balance and card design and so on, but the community contributions are very important. So thanks to all of those people. And if you're one of those people who likes to get involved and help the game out in various ways, then you should keep an eye on the forum over the next week or so, and probably Facebook as well, because that's a place to find out things as soon as they happen. Keep an eye out. There's some very, 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 very exciting news. Bum, bum, bum.
Can we just get that sound and add it and then put it on whenever we need it?
I will look for a sound effect that we can use for that noise. And if any listeners out there have a great sound effect that is not copyrighted by anybody and that we could use, feel free to send it over. Let us know about it on the forums or our Facebook page, and we will get it from you, and we'll use it in the podcast. That can be a community contribution that someone can give to the game.
We need a good soundboard. Personally, I wanted to use Gondorian's Baduru voice, but that was just me.
Hi, everybody. This is Baduru, and I've got some very exciting news for you.
Can you hear the sound of my face palm?
I can, actually. It's a very, very distinct and agreeable sound. Now, not to rush anything too much, but moving on, we need to get to these listener questions because there are so many of you that have so many things you want to hear us talk about, which I think is great. We love answering these things, so definitely keep them coming in the future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the listener questions. And if I mispronounce anybody's names, I apologize. I'm really bad at that. You can come over to the Shadowhour.com forums and berate me accordingly if I screw up your name, and I apologize. First up, Eden wants to know if we're going to release some cards.
We've got to.
That it is going to happen. Cards will come out. Yes.
We're working
That is a
on that.
definite yes.
And after a great, long, hard discussion, we decided that, yes, we will.
But when the
release
card
some
design
cards.
contest is finished, we're going to have about 200 cards. So, yeah, we'll release some of those.
I was under the impression that
And
we were
launch
in the
another
business-
contest, and we'll just go from there.
So we won't, don't worry, we do have more content coming. Next up, Joshua wants to know, are we making a new hero class?
Well, right now we are internally working on a new set. However, we're not at liberty to really talk about any specifics of the set, but we are working on a new set right now. And sorry, we can't answer that question specifically. But when the set's closer to release, we'll be releasing some spoilers, and you'll get to find out more about it.
So in short, we can neither confirm nor deny the potential existence of a new hero class. Next up, Tony wanted to know something about how to play Jericho. He says he doesn't seem to be very popular in his rating bracket, around 250 or so, and he'd like to hear us say something about how to effectively play him or how we use him. Lewis, since you are sort of the resident priest expert around here, do you want to go ahead and kick this one off?
Sure. I originally cut my teeth playing Jericho way back when I was a little boy, so I would say Jericho plays a lot differently than Zana because of her built-in healing. She's more of a late game based hero where she tends to use her ability to fend off early rushes and then overwhelm late. Whereas he's more of a toolbox type hero where his style is intended to take the best aspect of the opposing hero or the opposing deck and deny them that advantage and use that to his advantage. He tends to lean on cards like Celestial Armor, which does use his ability, because in not every matchup will his native ability kick in as often. So having cards like Celestial Armor is a good way for him to use his Shadow Energy and to get a really massive bonus out of it, which is the protection from the armor and an unkillable ally for that turn. So cards like Celestial Armor, cards like Marshland Sentinel are also great for him, because if Marshland Sentinel can last one turn, then it's a serious problem for pretty much every deck you could come across. So he tends to be more of a toolbox at taking away what it is they can do best.
Yeah, I agree. And the really key thing to understanding how to play an effective Jericho strategy is that you can use those shadow energy dumps, such as Marshland Sentinel and Wizened Staff, very liberally, because Jericho's ability is the type of ability that doesn't need to constantly go off every time it is available. You can actually hover so that every turn you have 4 shadow energy, so that when you need to use it to kill that one critical card, free up your one ally that your opponent doesn't think you can take care of something, or just nullify that one effect for one turn. You can do that because you'll have it handy, but you don't need to, constantly be using it over and over and over again throughout the match. So looking at those shadow energy cost cards is a really good way to start crafting an effective strategy with him, in my opinion.
Well, absolutely. I mean, as a last thought on this, I will say that, like with a lot of the cards in the Priest pool, especially Tidal Wave, where Elemental Pool has Mind Control, which does the same thing, that it's a semi-suppression type card, where you don't have to use it to get the effect from the card. Where, with Elementals, people are hesitant to play high attack allies because they know you can Mind Control it. Where against Priest, which Jericho is, people are hesitant to flood the board with allies, knowing that you can just Tidal Wave away other allies. And Jericho's ability fits into that category where people tend to be very liberal, be hesitant to be very liberal with attachments, knowing that his ability can undo their hard work very easily, which kind of works to your advantage.
Absolutely. All right, so hopefully that helps you out, Tony. And if you have more questions or want more detailed help or answers on deck lists and strategies and things, be sure to head over to the shadowera.com forums. There's whole sections dedicated to strategy and a whole lot of players who love talking about this stuff and helping people out and working on decks and strategies. So be sure to head over there, and there's a whole lot of discussions and great things that can go on. Next up, Gary asks us, since the Shadow Elementals have little or no defense against trap decks and mages, he wants to know if we have anything in the works for this. Balance Dictator.
Well, actually, it's an interesting point. Defense against mages. Elementals actually have a really healthy amount of draw potential in that you can heal through cards like, say, the new Infinity Core. That lets you basically recycle allies and heal, like, forever. Mage kills your ally, you can get it back in your deck, you're taking a lot of damage while you're healing. That actually helps quite a bit. As for trap decks, you could always play something like a Shriek. Shriek can kill any trap on the board. That'll help you get back into a game, let you stick an ally. Also, with mages, if you play a hero like Elementalist, you can actually play cards like Life Infusion, use his ability, get really high health total. A mage is not going to bring that down in one hit, like 10 health. They're not going to use like a double supernova, are they?
No.
Especially not
No,
if
they're
they're
not.
me.
Or if they could, but if they do, then they lost 10 health on their own, and you're the one healing, and mages don't have much healing now, do they? So they're taking a lot of beats from burning themselves like a Nova.
I think my general advice would be pack more allies, because then you can be springing the traps and still have some left. Run Soul Reaper, so that when, against mages, you're putting those allies down, and the mages are trying to take out the allies as opposed to going after your hero, because the allies are quite threatening. So when they're all dead, Soul Reaper, and you'll get up to a reasonable number. But it is a fine balance, because if the mage or your opponent's got the board and you Soul Reap back up to, say, 20, well, if they then hammer you again for like 15 next turn, you're not going to win. So it's important to balance between trying to hold the board but also fill up your grave so you can heal when they least expect it. Probably just before Seth would try a double fireball for the win,
Or a triple
you're at
fireball.
9 health and they think they're about to beat you, then you go Soul Reaper and get up to 28. That feels good.
Yeah, it feels very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Actually, I will say that as someone who plays quite a lot of mage decks and mage strategies, Elementals they have very good tools for dealing with that kind of play. Between the fact that Soul Reaper and Infinity Core have been talked about a lot, there's also just a lot of ways that you can play around some of these weaknesses that you're talking about. So the only way that you can actually destroy the traps directly is through things like Shriek and the generic removal, but the Elementals also have other clever tools that you can use to sort of try to nullify those advantages. For example, if you're playing out all of your allies and they're getting hit by these traps, that can be pretty annoying, but you have cards like Eternal Renewal and Infinity Core that put those allies back in your deck, and then if you're drawing with cards like Antimatter and Bad Santa, you'll get those allies back, and then you can play them again now that the traps are gone. So if you think outside the box a little bit, you can definitely deal with some of those annoying strategies. All right, the next question is from Alec. He would love to hear about any future plans for additional game types and maybe some multiplayer, any kind of format changes like that.
Well, I don't want to blow my own trumpet too much, but on my 13,000th post recently on the forum, I shared an unofficial game mode that people could try with 2 heroes. But then Kyle jumped on and said that he was having an idea related to that, where you would have 2 heroes and tag team them in and out. So that's not necessarily multiplayer, but he said that is on the list of things to implement. So 2 heroes, and you can swap them in and out, and I guess there'd be dual class as well. So that's one mode that's definitely on the list. Are there any others, guys, that you know about?
I believe that somewhere in the line, automated tournaments are scheduled, and those could include draft.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the draft mode limited is another booster draft would be another format that is on the list to be coming.
And the campaign,
so
of
you can be
course,
looking out for
single player campaign.
Yep, single player campaign is coming with special special cards and modes and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff to be on the lookout for. We can't talk much more than what we've just said right now, but there's definitely stuff coming, so keep an eye out for it. It's going to be exciting and fun. So we're skipping this. Oh, wait, we're talking about the article. Okay. Next up, Cross wanted to know, now that Dark Prophecies has been released, are there any aspects of any card from Call of the Crystals that you all, as the design team or as individual members, personally wish you could change, add to, or remove from the set for any reason?
Well, since this was posted, I've been thinking about this. There's a lot that could be said, and between us, just before starting to record this, we've had quite an interesting discussion. But we need to talk about it more. We need to put together a good article or a series of articles to answer that. It's just such a good question.
Yeah, and we don't really have the time to, like, we could probably spend a whole podcast just discussing our different viewpoints and stuff on this question. And we want to be able to give that question the sort of attention that an interesting question like that deserves. So
we don't have all the design team members here either.
Yeah,
Anorak isn't
that's
here,
true.
so
Some people.
we should confer and put together something really great that answers the question
Great
properly.
question, though.
yeah,
It's an awesome
very good
question. Cross, can you ask more questions in future? Because then we'll have ideas for articles and stuff. I mean, Lewis is
Yeah.
churning out 5 a
And then
day,
keep
isn't he?
coming.
So
Yeah, so he's going to need good ideas.
yeah.
You all are
Alright.
subject to my bad ideas.
All right, moving right along. Next up, Cycle wanted to know how Wolven plans to deal with the explosion of new CCGs hitting the market. Well, I mean, the simple answer is we're just going to keep right on doing what we've always been doing. We're going to be the best TCG that we possibly can. When you look at all these other games that are coming out, especially in the digital platforms, if you go, you can play them, and we just think that Shadow Era turns out to give you a better value, to not gouge you as much, to have really solid gameplay by comparison. And in general, the fact that all these new games are coming out just means that more people are going to be exposed to the genre and maybe be pulled into playing these types of games. And when they start doing that, they're going to discover Shadow Era, and they're going to see what we have to offer compared to these other games that we're playing. So to be honest, we're not really... we're pretty happy, actually, that the new explosion of TCGs is happening, because it's just going to make the market that much bigger, and we think that we have an excellent product, so we're not too worried.
Not worried at all. Their marketing dollars brings people into the genre, like you said, and those people, when they get into one game, they'll look for others. They'll find Shadow Era, and Shadow Era will reign supreme.
Couldn't have said it better.
Dun dun dun.
Yes.
Insert
exactly.
Baduru voice there.
All right. Next up, Demenchi wants to know why each member of the design team chose the forum avatar that they have now. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and start us off with this one?
Well, mine is actually a little Easter egg for anyone that wants to bother trying to scan it in, and it's a quote that's honestly, it's a quote that's pretty important to me. It's mattered a lot to me in my life at different points.
Do I have to download a QR code app to find out?
I'm gonna laugh if I scan his code and it's an
I-
ad for Doritos.
If the quote is something about give me the nachos now or something.
Nacho man.
Do.
Has Sid Slayer even got an avatar?
What?
I can't remember what your avatar is.
Actually, yeah, I can't think of it myself
I
either.
can't think
I'm about to pull up the forums right now.
Like really?
I
Shame
can't
on
remember
you,
what your
GDC.
avatar is.
Yes, I have an avatar. Shame on you. It's my avatar is Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. It's
Really?
from yes, it is.
Right. I can
Oh.
guess now why that is.
Oh, that was
I
a
mean,
cool
now,
card.
I was debating changing it recently to something else. I have a couple of options, but it was Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. I just really loved the story, and I thought it was really deep and really analytical, and I kind of connected with that. So I picked a character I thought was really kind of complex from that property.
And how long have you had that avatar for?
Oh, about a year.
Was it like a prophecy of orange hat guy, as in man, hat on,
No.
man with hat on?
Moving right along from
I will-
that one.
I will say that my avatar before I had Dr. Manhattan was it was the Da Vinci drawing of man, the different shapes.
Yeah,
I got
that's the
nothing.
one that.
You got nothing for that? But you got something for man orange hat?
Man with hat on. Yeah, man hat on. I thought it was a cryptic clue. My avatar is the Gondorian star because I'm Gondorian. And
That
why am I
makes sense.
Gondorian? Because
Wow.
I picked the name when I was playing the Lord of the Rings card game. And, yep. So it's a star, and I've been changing the colours on it. Don't know if anybody's noticed. Originally, I think it was just normal colours. Then I made it like yellow and blue and red. And then when Dark Prophecies came out, I inverted it and made it a black background. I hope people have recognised that and gone, oh, that's a nice touch. If they
Nobody
haven't,
cares,
screw them.
GDC. Nobody
Screw
cares.
them. And now it's kind of golden. It's golden, dude.
I'm sure they've noticed because there are quite a few posts with your avatar attached to them.
Yeah,
That's
man.
true.
So it's worth the investment. Soothslayer hardly makes any posts so he can do a cryptic clue about the impending arrival of Orange Hat Guy. But me, I have to, put in the slight improvements now and again. Keep people happy.
I have no idea where that was going, but that just sounded sad.
For who?
You, that was like a nobody loves me comment.
Huh?
He's loved.
I'm
In
loved.
fact,
That's why I
talking
keep
about
having
love,
children.
Perfect
Wow.
reason.
I'm loved.
Ba-dum-bum.
Also, someone loves me.
Like I don't even know what you say to that. I'm loved. That's why I keep having children. I don't even know what you say to that.
You just
Speaking of love,
accept-
So Trevor, your avatar.
Speaking of. Anyways, why did I choose Vash from Trigun? Well, because love and peace. That's all.
I think that pretty much sums it up.
That's
Yeah.
it. It's in my signature. You can find it there.
My avatar was chosen because the avatar I was using at the time, I was told that I couldn't use it. So I just needed to come up with something quickly, and the Shadow Era logo was something I had on my computer, and it was pretty appropriate for someone who works for Wolven on the game Shadow Era. So that is why I have that avatar.
A little too appropriate. I think there's some kind of conspiracy going on here.
It might be a little bit too appropriate.
I will comment and say that his previous avatar was too deadly of an assassin duck to be used.
Oh, it wasn't that anymore, actually. I changed it from the assassin duck and changed it to a over-the-top facial expression of myself, and I was told that it was too over-the-top and that I couldn't use it. So
Over the top
Aw.
facial expression.
Yup.
What have you been?
if you missed it, you'll just never know.
What have you and Gondorian been doing?
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
Wow.
So, moving
Your
on.
avatar is too appropriate.
Moving on, Soylent Green wants to know if we have any new features in the works that will be slowly rolled out, or is there always going to be one major update that everyone waits a long time for?
we're not really trying to save them up. Just a lot of just hit all at the same time. But we want to bring out the features as soon as they're ready and high enough quality. So there'll definitely be more regular, smaller improvements than a long gap and then loads of stuff. We don't want to overwhelm people. And we want to keep giving you new stuff as often as possible. So yeah, they'll be slowly rolled out, I guess. But not too slowly.
So yeah, we definitely just release everything as soon as we can when it's ready, and that's the kind of thing that you're going to see from us. Okay, now I am already bad at pronouncing names. Next up,
Oh my
I am
God.
so going to say this wrong. Nehantran Lotiu? I probably butchered that, and I'm sorry. But now that Dark Prophecies has been released and was tested on the test server for around 4 months, does Wolven feel that the set requires much more balancing or polishing? And if not, what is Wolven's priority to do next? Do we start developing a new set? Do we start improving on the game client? What are we doing?
Well, now that the set is live but not yet printed, we're focusing strictly on making any final balance changes. Because currently we like where the set is in terms of balance, and I'm actually working on a balance article right now that should give you a better insight into how Dark Prophecies is doing. We as a design team are already working hard on getting the next set crafted to perfection, so look forward to that. That's basically, from the design team's perspective, our next priority is to work on the next stuff.
Apart from Lewis, who's writing articles and getting all his ideas from the contest.
Apart from that,
Yes. Which
The
I'm
game,
pretty.
meanwhile, I mean, within Wolven, with the design team, the development stuff, those improvements to the game client and so on will continue in this period where people have bought the cards, trying them out. The game client will continue to be improved in the interim before these brilliant new cards that we're working on come out.
Next up, Danae wants to know, is the design team taking ideas from other existing or upcoming CCGs to try to implement them in Shadow Era?
As a designer, I will say that, for myself at least, I will say that I pull my designs and ideas from pretty much every aspect of life, not just current Shadow Era or other card games, but from every aspect of interaction that I see around me. And I look to different ways and stuff that you can do in life and interactions and stuff that you can have with other people and in various situations, and how Shadow Era interactions work and how you can really capitalize and get the most interesting and unique and flavorful interactions you can imagine. And I try and cram all that into Shadow Era card set goodness.
Well, Anorak isn't here, but he would say that he does a lot of research into other games. He knows a lot about all different games that are out there. So I guess he's our academic who studies other games. You've got Lewis bringing in his ideas from any kind of place that he's had inspiration, as he just said. Me personally, I'm kind of similar to Lewis. I don't go out of my way to look at other games. I prefer to focus on Shadow Era and come up with ideas which take it into places it's not been yet. Kind of approach it with a fresh perspective.
Next up, Yigdroid wants to know, given the amount of competition there's been recently with more free-to-play TCGs hitting the market, how do we plan to stand out and keep players interested? Also, do you Elementalis?
Who doesn't Elementalis? Really?
I mean, I know for a fact that Trevor does, because I have to fight it every Thursday.
Oh, for sure, man. Elementalist all the way.
I Elementalist solo. Ha.
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa, I don't even know how you pull that off.
I just realized that could be taken several ways. Good job.
But to answer the question, basically we're going to keep players interested by continuing to do what we've been doing, just to try to do more of it more often, and just keep improving the game and keep coming up with the awesome stuff that we've been coming up with, because that's why you guys enjoy the game, and that's what got you all interested, and we're going to keep on with that stuff. Moving on to the next question, Roustabout wanted to know, he wanted to hear Gondorian admit that NetTrap is still a disappointment.
Never. It never disappoints. 2 CC for 3 turns of disabled. I mean, that is overpowered in my opinion. But no one else thinks so it's alright. I love that card.
I thought the whole...
It admittedly is cheaper than Freezing Grip.
It's not
That's
broken,
true.
but it's overpowered, as in the value you get for the cost, I think, is very, very good. So I love it. And
I
one
thought
day,
the-
other people will love it.
One day.
I thought the whole net was a trap.
Is that a Sandra Bullock reference?
Oh,
That was...
I
Really?
think it was, but I think it was a Sandra Bullock reference, and I think that Lewis didn't know it was when he made it.
I didn't know it was when I
He's
made
too
it.
young
I was
for
at,
that
the
movie.
internet.
I think so. I think that's exactly what just happened.
I have a dream
Well-
that NetTrap will one day catch on and be used by everyone in widespread
Okay,
3-turn 2cc madness.
See, okay, now I feel silly. What movie are you referencing to?
A film called The Net,
Net.
with Sandra Bullock in it.
Okay,
where
yeah, then
her identity
that-
gets erased. That's based on a true story that I instigated with my spy network.
Yeah, it's been going on for that long.
Yeah, the
Uh,
thing about NetTrap is you should play it late game when somebody's about to plonk a fatty into it. Then you've taken that fatty out of the game for 3 turns. Don't play early. Try it.
Yeah, actually, I will say that one thing that I find consistently, as much as I don't really think NetTrap is amazing the way that Gondorian does, but I do think it's actually a very underrated card. Like a lot of low-cost cards, because people tend to see those low casting costs, and they just they want to load up 4 of them to get them super early so you can play them on the very first turn that it's available. But some of them are not meant to be used that way. NetTrap and Layerian Diplomat both really come to mind. But anyway, moving on. Joey Boy wanted to know, wasn't there supposed to be a monthly event or tournament that Wolven was going to host, and we were going to show it on a live stream on our Twitch channel? What happened to that? Yeah, there was, and there still is. What happened to that is that it's still going on, and by the time you guys hear this podcast, the next tournament should have been announced. So look forward to checking out Twitch TV/Wolven Games, and you'll see more on the forums and on Facebook about when that's going to be, or you should already be able to find it on our forums and our Facebook page by the time this gets edited. Next up, Praybird would like to know, what is the speed of light divided by the speed of ketchup flowing from a bottle?
Well, if we assume the ketchup's been sitting in the bottle, then it's going to have its standard viscosity. Then it has a recorded speed of 0.028 miles per hour. The speed of light, if we don't take into account any major cosmological events, is 299,792,458 miles per second. So the speed of light divided by that of the ketchup from the bottle is 38,544,744,600,000 miles per hour.
That's the same as the US deficit, I think.
Wow.
Wow, international burn right there.
Wow.
So yeah, I hope that helps, Freybird. That was, I don't know if that was as accurate of an answer as you were looking for, but we always like to deliver. Yeah, we always like to deliver, don't we? Okay, anyway, I
All about
don't really know where I was going with that one. That was a total.
It's not delivery. It's nachos.
It's just not delivery. We'll just
I was
leave
gonna
it.
say.
It's not deliver, it's
Right.
the kidneys. Check the kidneys.
What?
Delicioso.
Okay.
I was thinking
so
of a
that-
house episode.
Gondorian is on like that. That was man. The puns, so good. Anyway, moving on. BDK16 wants to know, what Dark Prophecies cards do you think had the most impact on the meta of the game currently, so far since the release?
I would probably say Fury and Terror.
I'm actually going to dispute that with a little bit of sleep that I never realized has had as much of an impact as it has. I'm gonna say Ironhide Crash.
I agree with Ironhide Crash. That guy has changed the Shadow early game so much, and he is in like every deck.
He's seen a lot of play.
I think both of them are honestly up in the air. It's hard to really single out one specific card because the meta itself has kind of changed and adapted, and that's a result of multiple cards. It's hard to say, oh, just this like one or that one did it. Like on the human side, you got like a Champion of Room that obviously fits into a lot of decks. It can take Puin out, where Puin might not have seen play at all anymore, but now you see another 2-drop coming in. Or even like a
That's
Laerian Seductress that helps going second.
Well,
True.
Baduru's jumped up quite a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
having a decent
like-
bow, that's really helped. Get good value there. So, because the Shadow Hunters have come up, well, yeah, in general, probably Fury and Terror has made all Shadow Heroes that little bit stronger. And that's shaking everything, because I think it used to be humans were a bit more popular. So, yeah, I'd say that one. Well, there's
Yeah,
lots.
I agree.
And it's not set
I
up
also
yet,
think-
so it's too soon
Yeah,
to say.
the meta is still in a pretty big state of flux. I also think that a meta shaking shadow has to be given to Infinity Core and Antimatter, making a lot of Elementalist decks work much smoother than they used to, and so you're seeing him a bit more, and that also helps Zaladar quite a bit with a lot of diversity in his different kinds of archetypes that you can play with him.
People always said that Elementals needed a draw engine.
And then they got one. So yeah, that's pretty much... This discussion could either stop here or go on for the next 3 hours, so I think we're going to stop here. Next up, Raphael Majir would like to know more information on the summer regionals, leagues, and the unknown world championship spots. How can they be earned? What other kinds of competitions are coming up? Gondorian, would you like to take care of this one?
Sure, yeah. So it was announced a while ago that next season of the official Shadow Era League, the winner of that would get a place in the World Championships. We haven't kicked that off yet because we're waiting for Project Jasmine that we talked about to go live. to lead to better connectivity and so on, reliability. So also people have a good idea of Dark Prophecies then. So it's a good time to kick it off and really find out, put the best players against each other in a round robin style, and we'll find a worthy person to take one of those invites. Season 6 of the Quick Match Ladder, the winner of that, Raphael Majer, won a spot. But then the next 4 people, the second, third, fourth, fifth, will face off in a round robin style event, and then an invite will go to one of those. In fact, one of them already had an invite, so he rejected that opportunity, and it's fallen to the next person, the 6th. But anyway, that's going to happen. Again, though, that's waiting for Project Jasmine as well. Summer regionals will happen, and there'll be 3 more of those. So that's another 3 slots, and there'll be some other things that I'm not going to announce yet. Hopefully that excites Raphael. He's just desperate to know who his opponents are, I guess, so that he can already start scouting them. Because I know he takes the game very, very seriously.
Next up, we have Flying Ferrari wants to know, how often are we planning to release upcoming expansions? He sees that other TCGs often have like a set a month, or some of them release a card every week, but like really small numbers. Some of them wait longer and release big sets of cards. What are we planning to do with our expansions?
We've always had a commitment to quality. We're going to release the expansions the second they're ready. The second we feel that the set's ready to go out to the public, it's going to go out to them.
That's absolutely it. And
it
like
will
I said,
not
the next
be 1 year though.
Yeah, no, we are not the yearly expansion thing is not a schedule that we're working on keeping. We're trying to speed it up from there. The next set is obviously already in development, and all that good stuff.
Give me that good stuff.
On that note, Ryan Jeremy wants to know when we can expect a map of Baylor.
Well, kind of going back to we're going to release things when they're ready. The campaign is already under heavy development. It is coming, and that updated map is absolutely critical to the updated release. However, we're going to release it when it's ready, so I can't give an exact deadline when it's going to drop, but I can promise that it's going to be a whole new ballgame. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
So bam, there you have it.
Deal with it.
All right, next up, Nick, who is a member of the Shadow Era team here, who was unfortunately not able to be with us, left a listener question for us, since he's obviously a listener for this episode, and he wants to know why Banebow does not have a bow made out of Bane.
Well, considering that Nacho dropped the mic with his answer to the last question, I'll just leave it simple and say he is on a diet.
He is on a diet. Does that mean that he eats his bow if it's made out of Bane? Is that a thing that people do with Bane bows?
Do you mean Bane from Batman?
Also a good question. Like, after he was defeated, maybe he could have been made into a bow.
Mojumbo does a great Bane impression.
Oh, already passed it, didn't I? Already did it. Only do it once.
When?
Gotta do it again now?
Yes.
Oh man, I feel like Mr. Wayne. Like, I haven't done it in so long.
You merely have a bow. I'm a Bane bow. That was god awful.
That was horrible, and I'm probably keeping that.
I figured you would.
Okay, so...
This is why I avoid impressions. Thank you.
Moving on. Razy wants to know if we're planning to have an adults-only Shadow Era radio episode in the near future, starring Laerian Seductress.
I wouldn't say we're going to have an adults-only version, but we have talked about a blooper reel time and time again.
That would be for adults only.
I have a feeling that
to release it.
NSFW.
Yeah.
And we will let you guys imagine what sort of things we've been hiding from you with our bloopers. Moving on to the next question. Index would like to know, he's just asking when, and when.
Soon.
Never.
Maybe.
Tuesday. I like it. All right, guys, that's about all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Shadow Era Radio, where the drinks are cold, the snakes are hot, and the O-penis is never censored.